It is the moment we've all been waiting for. It's time for our first segment of Mother Knows Best. These are our Fox 31 Mothers panel, and we're so excited that you guys are here this morning. We have been waiting to start this up, and it is just going to be a blast. I want to introduce you guys to the mothers. First off, this is Pat Finner. She's the editor of SewegaMom.com. She's a wife and mother of 5. Tracy over here is an attorney and mother of 3, has traveled around the country as a military officer. Bridget Mack, she is the blogger of Life Made Easier, a wife and mother of 3. And Janet Gorey is a wife and mother of 5 children, 9 grandchildren, and guardian of her nephew. She was instrumental in passing legislation to protect children from shaken baby syndrome. So these little things, how can you sum up someone's life, right? They have so much more experience than that, and we're so excited to get some of their knowledge and expertise in different areas. We have 2 really great topics to talk about today. The first one, you know, recently with the Oklahoma tragedy that has happened, we wanted to talk about how do we prepare our families and our children for disasters. And you guys have actually brought some items with you to kind of show of what you have in your personal homes for instances like this. But first off, go ahead and talk about how did you guys first decide to get prepared for a disaster? Because people tell you to do it all the time, but do people actually ever go out and buy those canned foods and have the first aid kit? You know what I mean? Talk about when you decided, the moment was you decided to put it together.
Well, for me, when my children were in elementary school, primary school, their teachers got it started. And with all of the natural disasters and all of the tragedies and terrorist attacks that's going on, it just makes you wonder, what would my children do if it were them? And it's very important to me and my husband, and I'm pretty sure all of us, that if we're not around our kids, they'll know what to do. And it's our job and our responsibility to prepare them at home so that if they're away or at school or something like that, that's just insurance to know that they know the steps to follow and they won't overreact, you know, or hurt themselves any worse.
Yeah, and in our case, I had a family member who had a tornado pass literally within feet of their house. And once you see those trees down, you think, holy cow, that could really happen to me.
Yeah.
And that's the moment I went out and I bought the Rubbermaid and all the stuff that goes in the kit.
Yeah, we had 2 years ago, we had a family, good family friends in Alabama that lost their home, everything and like that. And that combined with actually scouting, my kids were in scouts and had to do an emergency preparedness badge. So we kind of combined the 2 and
Now, what do you guys have in your emergency kits at home?
Well, I've actually got to steal some of her ideas.
The
flip-flops. I'm going to talk about the flip-flops, so I'm going to let you get started.
The flip-flops, we just bought some at the dollar store because sometimes in an emergency it's really quick and the kids may not have their shoes, but after an emergency there's a lot of debris on the ground, so some flip-flops is a really good idea to have around. And we also, I had to ask Janet today what kind of dog leash this was because she's my dog expert, but having a dog leash handy because you may have to control your pet or you may have to control other animals that are running loose. So those are just a couple of examples.
Those are some great ideas. What about you?
Now for me, with we have the first aid kit, and one of the things that we taught our kid was how to properly apply a Band-Aid. It also has in here an instruction guide on, you know, what to do in the event of emergency. But we also, my children are afraid of matches. So one of the things I was telling the ladies, of course we have the flashlights in here, and I brought the candles, and I told them I didn't want to bring my other candles because they were so ugly because of the way they were looking. But my kids don't do well with matches, so we got them this because they're so afraid the matches is going to burn their hand. So if we're not home and the lights go out, they know exactly where to go on that. But then we also have a car kit, a family car kit too in the event of emergency, which has a flashlight on the inside of it. It has handy wipes. It has a mini Band-Aid, a little first aid kit in here. It also even comes with a notepad and pencil just in case you need to leave a note or something like that. So it's just a few of the different things that we have.
Very good. We're going to be back in just a moment to wrap up this segment talking about the emergency preparedness, and then we'll come back to talk about another hot topic. You'll want to stay with us. Stick around. Welcome back to Good Day, and we are doing our Mother Knows Best segment for today. It's our first one, and the ladies are just doing a tremendous job, so we're so excited that you're here. We've been talking about the recent tragedy that happened in Oklahoma and how you prepare your family for a tragedy like this. But next, let's move on to talking with your kids about something, not if it's happened to you, but like in Oklahoma, the tornadoes. How do you explain to your kids what has happened, and without them being afraid? And you want them to know, but what do you do?
Well, first of all, I wanted just to wrap up the kit thing idea. If you're looking to start a kit and you don't know what items to put in it, you go to a camp store or Dollar Tree. You can get almost all these, and just these items for next to nothing, really. Yeah,
that's a good suggestion.
But to address your question too, I think it's really important to take cues from them. At certain ages, they're just not even aware of what's going on, and it probably would scare them. If they're not listening to the news and not processing that, they're probably just too young to really know, and it would scare them.
So do you just not tell them, and you just act like, and then they'll learn about it when they're older?
Well, I just take cues from them. I mean, if they ask me questions, I talk to them, and we'll listen to news broadcasts together and stuff, and take them seriously.
I've had situations where the older children will be concerned about that, or Mom, did you see that? That's really awful. And what you can do is give them, when they feel powerless about that, give them things that they can do. Would you like to write a letter? Would you like to donate some money? Would you like to pray for them? What would you like to do for those people? And help them feel empowered.
And the thing is, they're going to be afraid. I mean, it's a scary thing. We're adults and it scares us. But it's important for me to just go ahead and address that and address their fears and what they can do to conquer those fears in the event that should happen to them. My kids, I'm following in my mom's footsteps. She just started when we were young, and she was honest, and she was like, baby, this is what you do in order to prevent things from being worse. So it's good for me to be proactive with them, because you never know when disaster will happen.
Very good. Yeah. Well, that's all the time we have for that topic today. Great suggestions, and thank you for sharing your hearts on that. We're going to move on now. It's National Dog Bite Prevention Week, and there's this new dangerous dog ordinance that's being decided on right now. And we actually, on Fox 31, have documented 4 cases of animal attacks. 2 were children mauled by pit bulls. Under this dangerous dog ordinance, all pit bull owners would have to have proper enclosures, registration papers, liability insurance. The people who are trying to make this ordinance, they are researching other breeds, not kind of singling out the pit bull, but that is the one they're seeing the most cases with. What are your thoughts on this dangerous dog ordinance and how it affects your kids? And I'll direct this one to you first off. I know you're kind of our dog expert here.
And I have a pit bull. I have a 3-legged pit bull, actually.
3-legged pit bull.
Who I rescued off the side of US 19. And he does nothing but want to give you slobbery kisses and love you. And I just get so frustrated when they start talking about breed-specific legislation, because it really is not the dog. It is the person at the other end of the leash. And if you remember, in the 80s, it was the Rottweilers and the Dobermans, and before that, it was the German Shepherds. So I think really we need to be educating, owners and looking at the humans that are responsible. Actually, Chihuahuas bite more people than pit bulls, but obviously there's a different degree.
If there were a fee that you had to pay, like with this insurance, the liability papers, and you had a Chihuahua, and they say, we're going to make this about the Chihuahua, would you guys get rid of your Chihuahua, or would you want to pay money for a Chihuahua for this liability insurance?
If I already had one that was already a family pet, I'd pay the fee.
Right.
But it would affect my buying decision, definitely. If I was looking at what kind of pet, that would add into the cost of the animal, and I probably wouldn't choose a pet that had a fee associated.
And what they've seen in areas where they've done the breed-specific legislation is all of a sudden pit bulls are being dumped on the side of the road, or the shelters are being just inundated and they're having to be euthanized. So I really think that we need to look at other ways around this.
On teaching your children how to interact with animals, how do you do that without instilling fear in them?
I think it's respect. I train dogs in a public setting, and I, at least once a week, I have to stop my class and stop a child from just running up and approaching one of the dogs in the class and say, whoa, whoa, hold on, you never just run up to a dog. They could be afraid. You always ask the owner first, is it okay if I pet your dog?
We're going to come back in just a little bit to hear the other mom's thoughts on this dangerous dog ordinance. Stick with us. We'll be right back. We are back with Mother Knows Best, and we left off talking about this recent dangerous dog ordinance that people are deciding on just yesterday, deciding on this, and they're also researching other breeds besides pit bulls to have all these new ordinances about. But we actually ran a story recently on Fox 31 that Georgia ranks number 9 in dog bites. And we actually have, Janet, you have some statistics on dog bites in the area.
Well, in the country, 800,000 people a year are bitten to the point they have to go get medical attention. And out of those, half of them are children. Wow. That's a huge number. And I think with just a little bit of education and teaching that respect for a dog, we could really bring those numbers way down.
Tracy, you have a personal experience.
I do. I'm going to try to talk to you about it without crying, but last year my son was actually bitten by a dog. He was riding his bike in the neighborhood, and the dog was a stray and chased him on his bike, pulled him off the bike, and dragged him down the driveway. And what I would tell a parent about that is, first of all, you've got to talk to your children before summer season. You've got to talk to them about this ahead of time because they don't know the rules that Janet's talked about. I always tell my kids, don't run away from a dog, but in a situation like that, my son, who's 7, had a hard time remembering it. But I would say once the next biggest thing that was a problem for us, once one of my neighbors rescued my son and all that was taken care of, but you're in a panic about how to take care of the dog bite. Don't forget to get some help to find the dog, because as a parent you're going to have a hard time making that decision. Do I give my son the rabies shot, the shot that he has to take? Get some help to get your child taken care of, but make sure that somebody's looking for the dog.
How did you handle that with your son? Is he afraid of dogs now, or did you kind of teach him just depends? Or
I would say that he is more cautious, and Jen, I got to say we're still working on the respect thing. He's really, really afraid, but I tried to explain to him that the dog was probably just scared of the wheels. So I think you just have to try to teach them that teach them something about the animal behaviors. And frankly, one of Janet's classes sounds like a great idea to me. Yeah. So we'll come see you.
And we kind of talked a little bit about how to not make your child afraid by being afraid yourself, or always telling them no, 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 and that kind of thing. How do you tell them to be cautious without them being really jumpy and afraid around dogs?
Well, my children are they love animals, them and their dad, so I'm just absorbing it all in because I'm not an animal person. So when of course, my problem with my kids is that they usually run to animals and they want to pet them and they want to touch them and they want to do this, and I'm always cautious because you never know, how the animal may react.
Yeah, you also want to tell them, don't ever run from a dog, because that will trigger their instinct to chase after you, and it's counterintuitive for us. You think you want to run from that, but letting children know that stray animals or animals that appear aggressive are not toys.
Very good. Well, we are so excited that you guys were able to join us for our Mother Knows Best segment today. And you guys, if you would like to submit a topic to our mothers here, we would love to have some ideas for things that you guys would like to hear about. You can email us at mothers@wfxl.com, or you can find out more about the mothers that we have here right there, mysouthwestga.com/motherknowsbest. You can look that up to find out more about our moms. And talking more about this dog ordinance that is going on, do you guys think that the ordinance should be made about pit bulls exclusively? Do you think it should be made at all?
Not about one specific dog. I wouldn't agree with that one, no.
Okay.
You can't legislate everything. I mean, it's almost in our society, there's a disaster, there's a problem, there's a tragedy. Our immediate reaction is, let's make a law. And some of it is common sense or training and education, but you can't make laws about everything,
Breed-specific legislation never reduces the amount of dog attacks in the community where it is set up. It does not work.
Well, we appreciate you guys again coming on today. You guys can join us next Thursday in the 8 o'clock hour to hear more on Mother Knows Best. Again, you can find out more on mysouthwestga.com. We'll see you in the morning at 5 a.m. Have a great Thursday.